Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Do you sense a rivalry between the Kraken and Golden Knights as expansion cousins, or was that something I played up in my own head?
100%. They're going to be in Seattle for our Winter Classic game. New Year's, we have tickets for that at T-Mobile Park, which is, funny, at T-Mobile Arena here. But we have tickets for that. That'll be, I think between Edmonton and Seattle, I think have a nice thing going on. And I definitely think Vegas and Seattle have a good rivalry brewing.
Okay, so back it up. Where did the Oilers-Kraken rivalry come from? How did I miss that?
They came in and really pantsed us in the middle of the season last year. Came in, I think it was 3-0 before Dorothy had even gotten a beer and got to our seat. And so we went up and we beat them on our big road trip where we had that 7-8 road trip game winning streak in a row all the way through Canada, through Buffalo. But, we got Yamamoto from the Oilers. He scored against them in preseason when we played a couple weeks ago, and then Edmonton beating us in our last preseason game. So that, to me, is something to keep an eye on. And then, like you said, the Golden Knights, certainly here in the Winter Classic game, I'm really I'm scared because we paid a lot of money for those tickets for kind of the once in a lifetime in Seattle, but it should be excited to see.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
For those that just turned on their television and say, what's he ranting about now? I went to the local high school league and said, I want to give a free pizza to the MVP of every game all year long. And the league said, no, we can't because that's not fair to the other sports in our program. I'm like, I don't care about the other sports. Come on, man. The football players, they're the ones that get all the chicks. They're the cool guys. That's who I want. I don't want to sponsor the swim team.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
That's a true story. They're all true stories here. Welcome, everybody. Where's my bell? Welcome to the RP Show. I hope you're ready to have fun today. I know I say that every day, but I'm in the mood to have an extra amount of fun today. I'm in the Florida studio, and Moose is in the Toronto studio, where they are, from what I understand, measuring the widths of the streets in Toronto to see how wide the floats can be for the Stanley Cup parade. Moose, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. Look, I put on this Anaheim Ducks shirt that was a beautiful gift, and thinking they got to be playing tonight, right? Then I went to the app. They don't play till Saturday when they play Vegas. It'll be Vegas's third game of the year before Anaheim opens their season. But yeah, it's a good.
Yeah, you got that shirt from one of the scouts, Bruce Franklin. I'd like to know what I did wrong that I can't get an Anaheim Ducks golf shirt. I would love to wear one. You know me. I don't have any pride. I'll wear whatever they give me. So yeah. Hey, two things. Three. The guests today are these. I'm very excited about our first guest, Wade McElwain. He's a comedian from London, England, and he reached out to the show and said he does work with NFL London. I don't know the guy. He said he watches the show on Game Plus television over there in jolly good London. I'm just fascinated for my own morbid curiosity what the hell this guy's story is. So he's coming up in hour one. He asked to get on the show, and AJ Jakubec will join us, really the voice of Ottawa sports as far as I'm concerned. Senators, 67s, and REDBLACKS. He's in hour two. But one thing that's really busted my grits here right now, and I don't get it. I don't get it. You don't have a MacBook, do you, Darren?
I don't. I used to.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe there's a reason why you got rid of it. Can somebody please tell me? I got this McAfee antivirus thing popping up today. Your subscription is up for renewal. I'm like, I put in my credit card, I renewed. It came from the set, and it keeps popping up and popping up and popping up. McAfee. Not Pat McAfee. The guy that started McAfee antivirus, the guy that's apparently a creep, exiled in the Caribbean islands. Did you watch that show? Did you watch that documentary on him?
No.
Oh, yeah. When it shows up, Google McAfee founder. It's really blow your mind. But what do? Click here to renew. I renewed it. It's popping up. I keep hitting X. Leave me alone. Do you have that on your computer at all? Does stuff keeps popping up randomly?
Yeah, and you know what the worst was when I fire up the computer for the first time in the day, 7 programs fire up and I got to close them all. I got to close this. I got to close Microsoft Teams. I had somebody who's really good with computers go in. He was farting around in the settings and found a spot where all the things that start up when your computer opens up, and he's like, turn that off, turn that off, turn that off, turn that off. And all of a sudden, nothing opens up anymore. So you need the Geek Squad to come in and take a look at your computer.
Yes. They're the only ones I trust, the Geek Squad, and there isn't one anywhere nearby. And by the way, I'm not drinking actual beer on the air today for our millions of new viewers, just so you know. Sober, 8.5 years here, going on 9. This is Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beer, one of our wonderful sponsors, particularly of our CFL coverage. This is the IPA from Sober Carpenter. They're out of Montreal, everybody. So, yeah, I'm having a great day. The wind is up, so be prepared. The sign over my shoulder may very well take a flying leap across the line A here, Darren, so be prepared. And we're ready to talk sports. So, Director Jordan, can you hit the quick six show horn, please? And we'll get down to business. Well, number one of our quick six show topics, we're opening with baseball because everywhere I turn, I'm getting inundated with baseball talk. Maybe it's because I'm in Florida, but the Philadelphia Phillies host the Atlanta Braves tonight for Game 4 of their best-of-5 NL Division Series. The Phillies won 10-2 Wednesday night to take a 2-1 series lead and inch closer to the NLCS. The winner of this series will face the Arizona Diamondbacks, who swept the Dodgers Wednesday night. And over in the AL, Jose Abreu homered for the 3rd time in 2 games for the Houston Astros in a 3-2 win over the Minnesota Twins. The Astros reached their 7th straight ALCS and eliminated the Twins in Game 4 of their AL Division Series. Abreu hit a 2-run rocket in the 4th inning. And that's all I'm willing to talk about there. What does it say about the Blue Jays that the Twins have been bounced already? And I did see breaking news out of Toronto today. Blue Jays president Mark Shapiro confirming that general manager Ross Atkins will be back next year. That to me doesn't seem like news. I feel like they're just stating the obvious. So I'm ready to move on, and I know you are too. I facetiously said they're planning a Stanley Cup parade in Toronto, but they might be in Vancouver, where Brock Besser had his first career 4-goal game and led the Vancouver Canucks to an 8-1 rout of the Edmonton Oilers Wednesday night in the season opener for both teams. Connor Garland, Elias Pedersen, JT Miller, along with 4 assists, and Dakota Joshua added the others. I will say this. It's awesome for the NHL that the ESPN is carrying their games, so their highlights are playing all over SportsCenter. But as we just said, Besser scored 4 goals. Darren, on the SportsCenter, they're like, after the 3rd goal, they're showing the highlights this morning. I'm watching it, and the announcer goes, and they're throwing hats on the ice. That's what they do at hockey games when they score 3 goals. I'm like, at least you're talking about it. It's better than not talking about it at all. Leon Draisaitl extended his point streak against the Canucks to 19 games with a goal. So, clearly, I didn't watch it. It was out on the West Coast, for the love of Pete. But I'm all over it. I saw what Jay Woodcroft had to say after the game. The Oilers head coach, he said, sorry, I just got a text from the Florida Panthers. Everything's happening. Everything's popping off. McAfee's up my ass. Texts are coming in. We're having a viewing party tonight for the Panthers game at Funky Buddha Brewhouse. So I'm just checking with all my peeps to see who's going to be there. And everybody's, once again, I'm the party coordinator.
Somebody has to be.
Anyways, yes, somebody's got to be. Woodcroft said that it was a preseason type effort for the Oilers last night. Connor McDavid said it sucked. He said the outcome sucked. That's from Connor McJesus. And sure, I don't know, where they at? Edmonton? Where you at, Edmonton? Let's hear what they have to say today. You ready to burn the rink down? Both Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner allowed 4 goals each. It's one game. It's one game. Can I reiterate? It's one game. Not a good game. 8-1 Canucks. But there's your wake-up call, Edmonton. You're not all that. That's my take on the game. What do you think, Darren?
Yeah, I stayed up and watched most of it because I wanted to really get a look at the Flames and Jets too. So I watched a little bit of that, and then Here's the thing. Vancouver played well. They played really well, and I thought they were really good defensively. I thought the penalty kill was really good against that record-setting power play. They were really aggressive. Got in the face of McDavid and Draisaitl, which I thought was really good. And then they were opportunistic. And Besser, I think, is a really good story because, he's had a couple of down years, and I think everybody's waiting to see if he's going to bounce back. And this looks like a great place to start, that he could get back to that 30-goal pace or better. Very, very encouraging for Vancouver. And the other thing I liked about last night, not just in that game, but really in most of the Canadian games, Ottawa was on the road, the home team won. So you kind of like when the home teams win in their home openers.
Yeah, says the Leafs fan who won at home, which I'll get into. And that reminds me, Corey Patterson's watching. Yeah, and the Flame. Corey Patterson's watching in Tallahassee, Florida. Former Regina Pat pro hockey player, and he wanted us to have a poll question today. And I'm sorry, Patty. It just dawned on me, because that's not what the poll question is going to be. He wanted to know our thoughts on if we could have a poll question on what our audience feels about overtime and shootout. Basically, the NHL overtime rules, are you in favor of it or not? Let me guess, Patty, your team lost last night, so you don't like the overtime rules. Isn't that usually how it works? Had the Habs won, he'd have liked the overtime rules. But that's a conversation. We got all hockey season to have that as a poll question. And Patty, you're just a smidge older than me. Let's remember why they brought in 3-on-3 and then the shootout. 4-on-4 first and then the shootout. They wanted a winner. Although Canada drives the National Hockey League financially, America is still kind of the tail that wags the dog, and Americans need a winner. There were too many ties, so they wanted to settle it. And they knew that the shootout would do that, and then the 3-on-3 would too. And so there's less ties. There's no ties now, actually, but they're ending it in 3-on-3 overtime. I don't think anybody's got a problem with it. I'm just sitting here. Johnny M., as I opened up the text line, the 902-518-3033 text line for EMJ Marketing. He writes in and says, hey, can we talk about the acquisitions the Winnipeg Jets made, brah? Dude, that is so Tuesday. And he was watching the replay. We weren't even live. I feel like Game Plus needs to put a thing up in the window that says, replayed. You do what you want to do. It's your TV channel. But speaking of home games, Andrew Mangiapane scored twice and had an assist for the Calgary Flames in a 5-3 win over the visiting Winnipeg Jets. Flames goalie Jacob Markstrom made 35 saves in the win and stopped all 14 shots he faced from Winnipeg's power play. Look, you could have set your watch by it. The Calgary Flames would have beaten the 85 Oilers last night. It wouldn't have mattered. The Flames have become my second team, for a variety of reasons. Calgary has become home to us, and I've got great relationships with the Flames. And I wasn't cheering for them per se, but I know what's gone on there. Those players got Daryl Sutter ousted. They know it. They had to go out and prove it, that Daryl was the problem. Okay, so they had to come out, pardon the pun, but like a house on fire against the Winnipeg Jets last night, and they did. And again, as they say, Jacob Markstrom won him the game. But if the Jets come home and win their home opener, I don't think anybody's going to be too upset. But you said, I did see on Twitter one of the pundits saying this is basically the exact same lineup for the Flames that ended last year, starting this year. What does that tell you? What's different? A new head coach. So they don't want to make anybody look bad. They were going to put their best foot forward. Who outside Winnipeg didn't think that was going to happen last night? Your take?
Couple years ago, the Flames, and they showed Markstrom's number as Vezina candidate, the whole deal. And then last year, we just want to look at it and see all the problems. And there were a lot of problems. Huberdeau didn't adjust and light the world on fire like we expected. Kadri wasn't scoring at a regular clip. These things weren't happening. Markstrom wasn't playing like a Vezina goaltender. And they still just about made the playoffs. So you bring everybody back. You get everybody just getting back to normal, little bit of a change in culture, new coach, some things like that. And this Flames team could be very good again. They could be very good. And the Jets were good last night too. Scheifele, great goal, just that, elite release that he has. It was a really, really entertaining game.
There you go. Bob's your uncle. As we roll,
Bob's your
and
uncle.
I'll tell you people that our poll question today has to do with the National Football League, and that's next segment. I don't think we'll have time to get to it here. But just a secondary poll. What are your thoughts on the NHL's extra time rules in the regular season? I don't have a problem with it at all. Frankly, I don't mind the skills competition aspect of regular season shootouts. I don't mind it at all. I have a problem with the way guys are allowed to slow right down and dangle forever. You try being a goalie and stop that. You saw what Flower finally had enough, what he did with Bedard. But aside from that, if they could find a way to get rid of that, I don't have a problem with it at all. But who am I? I want to know people's thoughts on that. I was listening to Dan Patrick this morning, Moose, on my way home from setting a studio record today in the Catch Me If You Can Orange Theory Fitness race that we were in. For the love of Pete, can somebody tell me how to turn off this McAfee thing? Every 2 minutes it's popping up. Run your McAfee, renew your McAfee. Your McAfee's expired, blah, 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 blah. And anyways, they have a poll every hour. Has that always been a thing with Dan Patrick? I mean, we've been listening to Dan Patrick for years. You're a huge Dan Patrick fan. Do they do a different poll every hour on Dan Patrick?
Maybe they do now. I kind of recall them doing that some days when they have too many good, juicy topics that they need to put a poll out for. But I recall it usually being, a daily full poll. But they don't just, and again, we don't need to, but they don't lock themselves in. If they want to have 2 polls one day, they'll have 2 polls one day. I think that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah. It's just funny because I listen to Dan Patrick because I just get tired of the Dolphins talk on the other sports station. And I'm like, DP, we're fans, but his big thing is college football, right now baseball, and then NFL. And I'm like, well, I've been told by New York broadcasters that my vibe is a lot like Dan Patrick's. We're not going to talk about the same thing, just in terms of being around. Our energy is the same, but we're interested in different things. Mikko Rantanen had 2 goals and a pair of assists. Nathan McKinnon had a goal and 2 helpers. And the Colorado Avalanche opened their season with a 5-2 victory over the LA Kings. Cale Makar also scored for the Avs. Cale Makar was called the face of Calgary minor hockey when we were there this summer. And we were trying to get Cale Makar down to Century Downs Casino live. And through his family, through his friends, through the Brooks Bandits. And these NHL guys, it's not like it used to be. They're busy in the summer. They're busy for a variety of reasons and a variety of things. The guy texted me the other day, and he's like, I'm still working on getting Cale on your show. And I'm like, don't bother now, bro. We're not there anymore. Let's wait till next summer. Oh, and Connor Bedard scored last night on a wraparound, Chicago's only goal in a 3-1 loss at Boston. He's sitting there with PTSD. If Bedard doesn't score, nobody does. Where have we seen this before? Our hockey coverage is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company in Calgary. Head to the tap room Thursday, that's today, through Saturday, noon to 8 p.m. Check out Common Crown Brewing Company at commoncrown.ca. We've got CFL Deal or No Deal. We've got NFL Thursday Night Football to preview. What else? Tonight's NHL games. Yeah. Today's poll question, we haven't even told you what it is. So we'll be right back on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Welcome back, everybody. And guys, Manscaped has done it again. I'm speaking specifically to the sports people that watch this show every day. Introducing the Handyman Facial Razor. If I had it handy, I would show it to you, but I've done that before. It's brand new. It's not for your junk. It's for up top. And like every Manscaped product, a ton of thought has gone into it. Sleek, compact. It charges by USB. Not joking, fits right into your shaving kit for those road trips. And let's be honest, we all have problems jamming everything in there. Not anymore. Order yours today at manscaped.com. And with the promo code TheRPShow, get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code TheRPShow. I'm in the South Florida studio. Moose is in the Toronto studio, and we jump back into the fray here. Every time, I swear, man, it's like driving a new car, Moose. Every time I'm using the Handyman, I find a new cool innovation on it. It's got the spongy top on it. And you're not there yet, but soon you're going to be. Sorry to be a spoiler alert, where you're going to need to shave your ears. I'm not joking. And that, I know, and you push down on that thing and the header comes up and meets, it's just heaven for your ears. So I should bring it out and show everybody, but just take my word for it. Go to manscaped.com, 20% off with a promo code TheRPShow. And it's about the size of your cellular phone. Right, Moose? Would you agree with that? It's with the size of your cell phone.
Yeah, it might even be smaller. Like, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. What haven't they thought of? Listen, we're going to get to the CFL in a second. I just want to tell you the Kansas City Chiefs are hosting AFC West rival Denver tonight in Thursday night football action. The Chiefs are on a 4-game heater since dropping their season opener to Detroit on the opening night of the NFL season. Meanwhile, the Broncos have struggled at 1-4. I'm laughing. I'm sorry, because I thought about Taylor Swift, and I don't know what to trust anymore in the news media. And for that, well, no, the news media and also social media. I read that Taylor Swift is traveling with the Chiefs. Now, this game's in KC, but is that a fact? She's on the team plane? Like, if that's true, I'm sorry, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's true? That's happening?
I think so. Yeah. I think she's on the team charter.
Okay. Well, they can do whatever they want, but hey, listen, I am not, by the way, anti-woman on the team, aircraft, bus, whatever. But I don't ever remember anybody's partner. The only spouse, if you will, or partner that I think should be allowed on a team vessel would be the owner's wife. Or in the case of, like, your Titans are owned by a woman, right? Or is it the Texans? Either way,
Titans.
The owner's husband. Yeah, well, yeah, it's the Titans, right? The beer lady, right? Isn't it?
Amy Adams Strunk, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like you guys are tight. But how do we feel about that? Let's hear from you, sports people.
It feels a lot like...
I sense you don't have a problem with it.
Well, when I first see it, I'm like, yeah, okay, she's a rock star. She gets on the plane, whatever. The Chiefs all the players would want her on the plane because she's Taylor Swift, right? Because that's cool. I think just anybody's girlfriend, wife, husband, significant other, whatever. I don't know that flies. But I think, like, I'm with you. Like, mostly it's a business trip. Except like once a year. Like if you do a dad's weekend, or if you do, like, you know, bring your wife and kids for the one weekend trip out to New York or out, you know, in the CFL out to Vancouver or whatever. Like that's cool. But like every week, yeah, it's very weird. But maybe she's their good luck charm. They have not lost since she showed up. So maybe she's on the plane like a thing hanging from the rearview mirror, you know, like a good luck charm.
Well, yeah. A dream catcher. Or an evergreen air freshener.
Her beads, whatever.
Well, would be a wonderful poll question. Is it right that Taylor Swift travels with the Kansas City Chiefs? Because, again, here we are. This one's just right over the plate for where we want to be the view for sports fans. Quite clearly, we're talking about things no other sports talk show is going to talk about. But I remember flying home on the Chata with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and winners of a lottery, I believe it was the touchdown lottery, got to fly with the team. And it was like the front half of the plane was winners of the lottery because there was quite a few of them. Then there was, you know, staff and media, which was me, and then players in the back of the plane. And I remember, thank God it was only coming home from Winnipeg. It's only a 45-minute flight, but we got our asses whipped in Winnipeg. It was an old Canadian stadium, and I'm sitting right in the exit row, and you know how tall I am, and they gave me the exit row because of my long legs, and this fan buckled, of course, because this is right after the game. Hey, Doubles. And Durant, for whatever reason, you know, he had to go to the front of the plane and talk to the coaches or whatever, and he had his iPad out, and this fan's like, hey, Doubles, hey, you mind if I get a picture with you? And I'm in my seat. Oh, boy. Here we go. Like Fred Flintstone. Ooh, boy. I don't think anybody should be on the plane except for staff. Not lottery winners, not girlfriends, not... Yeah. For whatever reason, it touched a nerve there. And I don't know why I would get offended. I mean, I don't really care. Anybody would know. As God is my witness, I got on the plane or bus and went to sleep. 100% of the time. They used to laugh with the hockey team. You know, there used to be a stop sign at the end of the parking lot at the Brand Center, and the guys always laughed and said, Rod's asleep by the time we hit the stop sign. So, yeah, I don't really care who's on the bus. I don't, but... I think we got people talking, Moose. And before we get to CFL Deal or No Deal, which, by the way, I'm not going to wear the crown for it today and cape. I'll wear it tomorrow when we spend more time on it for the National Football League Week 6. But we didn't get to Belichick. I mean, Darren, I need you. I believe that you are the personal protector of my brand and my sanity and everything else. That's what you are. But how do you feel about this? You know, you've been around me long enough. I see things long before everybody else, and I say it, and I'm accused of being crazy. And then when I'm proven right, nobody ever comes back and says, oh, yeah, you were right. And that really ticks me off. But I was the first one saying Belichick's going to be fired. He's got to be fired, maybe by the end of the season. And so they're going to Vegas, and we have that as one of our options for Game of the Week. That's the poll today for Key Auto Group. What's the America's Game of the Week in the NFL? And I'll get to all the games in a second. But I said it first. Now everybody's on Belichick. So I guess now can we talk about it? We talked about it last week. Does he make it to the end of the season? Do they fire him at all or when? And I said 2025 based on loyalty from Robert Kraft and the 6 Super Bowls he's won. Kraft just seems like that loyal guy. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think he's earned some rope here. And I said this last week. I said, I think what happens first is they bring in a general manager to work with Bill and let him just coach, right? Somebody to bring in talent. I think that will happen first. I think because of his track record, he's earned this opportunity. Now, you think it's maybe too much to handle both roles. We don't like the new direction. So, you know what? At first, we're going to try and bring in some support here. If it still goes south and sideways, then we look at letting you go. But I think he's got a couple more years of just being the head coach. I think we want to try that first couple of years, and then we make a decision. So 2025, 2026. But I think by as early as next season, Bill could have the GM title removed.
Interesting that you say that. I've heard that, those rumblings as well. They're not going to fire him as general manager, but they'll take those duties away from him.
Yeah.
I appreciate those that are writing in with ideas as to how to stop this McAfee thing from popping up every 2 minutes. I can't tell you how annoying it is. Yeah, it'll have to wait to the end of the show, but thanks for your help. The poll question daily is for Key Auto Group. Driven by safety, experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. What's America's Game of the Week in the National Football League? Your options are Colts, Jaguars. I came up with these. Vikings, Bears, Battle of the NFC North. The Cheese League. New England at Vegas. Or the Eagles at the Jets. And the last I saw, 100% of you voting the Eagles and the Jets. We got some good comments coming in from the audience, as we always do. Ted in Red Deer writes in and says, Rod, you'd know better than me, but as a road trip, the best spot for a family vacation? Well, no, it's not. Arlen Bruce, I'll get to yours in a second. Arlen Bruce says, I think Russell Wilson has his best game tonight. If not, do you trade him? Will Kirk Cousins go to another team? Love you, AB, but we'll come up with the questions, of course. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, Rod would, he says the biggest celebrity on the Riders charter was Rod Pedersen, the biggest of them all. Well, I think so, but not everybody would agree. But I could sit here and talk about road trip stories, Darren, obviously.
Yeah.
Till the cows come home. But that's the one thing about sports, if you notice, the players, the teams, very, very protective of that. Now, Darren has said it. I was one of the very first guys taking photos from the tarmac. Remember that with the Riders way back in the day? Before anybody was doing it.
Yeah.
Now everybody's doing it. You know, but the team's really close. You don't see photos from inside airplanes, rarely on team buses unless it's a documentary years later, like Boys on the Bus on the Oilers, or there's a Dolphins one that my buddy Andrew Green was in, sitting beside Dan Marino, interestingly enough. But anyway, it's really only the owners. One time I was flying down here to Florida on, I think it was like American Airlines or whatever, and a flight attendant, she was sitting in the the jump seat or whatever. She was facing me as we took off. And we got talking, and she moonlighted as a private flight attendant for the Bengals. And I said, oh, sweetie, you got to tell me some Bengals. Get me some tea on the Bengals. What's it like traveling with them? And she's like, oh, okay, well, after games, when we come to the plane, before you even get on the plane, there's red carpet rolled out. There's Chick-fil-A, because the owner really loves Chick-fil-A. So all, like 4 rows of a stand there. Before you even get on the plane, grab your sandwich, then you get on. She was the first 3 rows are saved for the Brown family. And she's like, And honey, are they screwed up? I'm like, most owners' families are, but that's another story. The first 3 rows. So the owner, the wife, the kids, the grandkids, the dog. I saw a guy walking his dog today in a backpack here in Florida. And then I said, who was the nicest guy? And she goes, oh, Andy. We all loved Andy. I'm like, the Red Rifle? She's like, yeah, Andy Dalton. He was the nicest guy. I said, who was the biggest jerk? She goes, oh, Adam Jones, Pac-Man, Adam Jones. And I'm like, that also doesn't surprise me. But she talked about the roast beef carving station, the buffet all the way down the middle of the plane, and just, you know, they call it the NFL, the not for long league. I think it's similar in the NHL where they call it the never hungry league. But anyways, Moose, we'll continue this next hour, okay, because we got to bolt for our next guest.
Yeah, sounds good.
From NFL London, comedian as well, Wade McElwain joins us right after this pause on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues. A quick check-in on the EMJ Marketing text line. Blair writes in from Calgary. He says, "Hey, Rod, I love your enthusiasm on the CFL. TSN, as you know, has the TV rights, but you talk more in one show than any Sports Center show. Please keep it up." You have a new listener, Blair in Calgary, puts in brackets, a Ticats fan. Regarding Taylor Swift traveling with the Chiefs on the road, Brian in Hudson Bay says, "I don't know if it's true or not. Last week they said she was on the plane to Minnie, but yet then when the game was on, they said she wasn't even at the game, so who knows." And John in Edmonton says, by opting to ditch their buckets for warm-up in their NHL debuts, Chicago's Connor Bedard and Kevin Korchinski will each be fined $2,500 following the NHL's new safety protocols. Thank you, John in Edmonton. Snitches get stitches, by the way, John. Quit being a tattletale. Okay. Wade McElwain reached out to us. Let's bring him in from London, England. It's been, a week or two? Hey, Wade, listen, how'd you find us? What's your deal? I couldn't wait to talk to you.
I'm a big fan, Rod. So it's a funny thing is, because I've got some digital TV here, and I was on Game Plus, and I'm like, I heard your voice, I heard the accent, I was like, what the Canada? Sports, loving it. So I picked it up here in the UK, and as a result of which, I've been listening to the show, laughing, enjoying myself, and I thought, heck, might as well reach out to him since I'm involved in sports over here as well.
Yeah, well, thanks for all those kind words, and thanks for being on the team, bro, and we're on yours. So, sure. But you said involved in sports, London NFL. It's going great, man. What's your involvement with it, and what can you tell us?
So when I first moved here in 2006, there was nowhere to watch the NFL. So I contact a pub, and I'm like, "Hey, you're going to show the Super Bowl?" They're like, "What's that?" So I go into Craigslist, which was a thing back then, and I put an ad up for a Super Bowl party. And they're like, "How many people are you going to show up?" And I was like, I don't know, 50, 60. Over 600 people show up, lined up around the door. I'm bartending, and the bar's like, "Are you running this Super Bowl every week?" And I was like, No. So then I started NFL in London as the biggest, I'm now the largest promoter of the NFL in Europe. We started hosting events at casinos. We've reached, and now we've got podcasts, and NFL in London is massive now here. And it's just me, a Chicago Bears fan, had nowhere to watch it. And so it's just a bunch of expats getting together and watching the games. And now we sort of helped grow it. So it's been good because it's you want to reach of North American sports when you live over in the UK.
I love it. I love the whole thing. I love it all. We got to get you on here regularly. But tell me, is there a favorite NFL team in London? Is there a team they consider their team?
Well, I mean, historically it was always the Patriots because it had England in the title. But since Sheed Khan has come over here and trying to move it, the Jacksonville Jaguars have tried to. But if you go to any game here, like the game we've got this weekend, you will just see a sea of jerseys. Last week it was Buffalo. That was lucky, but I think most NFL players, and we've had the chance, I interview a lot of the players when they come over here, they're just surprised at just the wide swath of jerseys that are here and just how unique it is. And a lot of it's edutainment here because I think a lot of people are there's some people still learning the game, but there's still other people that are just really big in it.
Cool. Well, hey, listen, I worked in sports a long time. We'll take them all. The NFL is going, we'll take you all. Doesn't matter who you're cheering for as long as you cheer for somebody. Now, you said you moved there in 2006. What's your story, Dave?
Well, I started, my background is stand-up comedy. And so I was doing yucks and things like that in Canada, traveling around Canada, going to the States, producing TV shows. I used to have a bowling show on the Comedy Network called Gutterball Alley, which you can Google it. But then I
remember it.
That's me, host of it. I created that show.
Okay.
So
sorry.
I moved to, as you know, entertainment in Canada is quite limited in the options. So, England, I have ancestry. I moved here where comedy was booming, where comedians are making a living, where you can make stuff in TV. And I love Canada. I'm Canadian, but man, I'm British. This is home, and this is arts and entertainment, and there's so much going on here. And I've also got a daughter, so
Wow, I love it. That's super cool. What was the best Canadian yuck crowd? Where do they laugh the most? Who was the easiest to get a laugh out of?
I mean, out west was good. Calgary was great. The Calgary Club used to have a Blackfoot Drive. There used to be down there. There used to be one in West Edmonton Mall, which was crazy. because when you're not doing that, you could go shoot guns at the gun store, which was just fun. It was really good. I mean, I think when I was doing comedy, I was a lot younger. I'm doing comedy again here now, which when you're 50, the kids are like, "Hey, old man, what are you talking about?" But comedy in Canada was great back in its heyday. When people just didn't take things too seriously, and we had a little bit more levity for a laugh. I think that's sort of missing today sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm enjoying the interview. And it's the Blackfoot Inn in Calgary. Know it well. And I feel like the one in Edmonton and West Edmonton Mall was on Bourbon Street in one of those bars.
Yeah.
Somebody from Edmonton, help me out. As you know, we're on Game Plus television and strong viewership in both of those areas. As a stand-up comic, can I ask you, is the most annoying thing you get from people that say, "Dave, say something funny"? Or is there something more annoying than that?
No, I think more it's like, "Hey, wait, can you do this?" Now, because I have a daughter and everything like that, it's like, "Daddy, shut up." And she's got the little British accent, which is cutting. It sounds like an app just sort of hitting you. Kind of creepy when you're in the middle of like, "Daddy, Daddy," you're like, "Oh my God, horror movies." And it's your child. But I mean, the British people are what we call taking the piss here. And the crowds here they're very mature comedy crowds. I would say a bit more than North America. They're very comedy savvy here. I mean, London has more stand-up than Toronto, Chicago, New York, and LA combined. So there's just so much comedy going on. I think, now everyone's very sensitive. The young kids are very sensitive. So the most thing I hear now is, "Ooh, that's offensive," which is not as fun, is it? I prefer, "Hey, my friend Wade, he'll make you laugh," as opposed to, "You're offensive."
Who is your comedic stand-up comedy idol?
Well, I mean, let me tell you some of the Canadian ones, because I'm big on some of the Canadian names. I mean, I'm always a big fan of Mike Bullard, who used to have the Mike Bullard Show. Mike is a heckler killer. I mean, I've been in shows where it's like, he's warned people, and a woman's talking, and he's like, "Ma'am, I'm giving you a second here, all right? If I have to unload on you," and we're all like, "Do it, Mike, do it." Within 2 minutes, she was crying out the door. Just like we told you it was going to happen. Kenny Robinson, he's been running the Nubian Nights in Toronto. He is absolutely fantastic. But I haven't been back to Canada to perform in probably 15 years. I've done some things, but I mostly just perform in Europe and the Middle East and Asia and places like that. Pretty much anywhere where I can go somewhere warm, and they'll pay me to go somewhere warm. Yeah. I'm kind of lazy that way. They're just like,
I hear that as I sit here in South Florida, where it's 31 degrees Celsius today, and
bless you.
Well, Dave, we are out of time, but listen, again, stay close. Let's do it again. Thanks for the support, and anything that you need from us, you know where to find us now.
Thanks, Rod. I just want to also say, look, I know that you're going through your journey of sobriety. I've also done that, so I big props to you on that. It's very, and to anyone out there, as someone drinking my lemonade, but anyone out there, if you're struggling, ask for help, because there's a lot of people that are, and you're a good inspiration for that, Rod. So good for you, and be the voice of it. It's nice to hear someone speaking for us.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. The hardest thing you'll ever do is ask for help, and then from there, it gets easier every day. Thank you, brother. Enjoy the football.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Rod. Thanks a lot for having me on the show.
Dave McElwain from London, England. How about that? I really enjoyed that. We'll be right back with a sports update and audience takeover in a second. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, RP Show continues, and a shorty here. A big thank you to Wade McElwain from checking in from London, England, and give him a follow on social media. I just did. I feel like that's a relationship that's going to stand the test of time. Sports update on this Thursday. Basketball star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes his return to Canada tonight as the Oklahoma City Thunder take on the Detroit Pistons in an NBA exhibition game at Montreal's Bell Center. The Hamilton product averaged over 31 points per game for the Thunder last season and was named an NBA first-team All-Star. He went on to lead Canada to a bronze medal at the FIBA Basketball World Cup, where he was named a Tournament All-Star. Tonight's National Hockey League schedule includes 7 games, with the defending Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights taking on the San Jose Sharks. The Knights opened their season with a 4-1 win over Seattle on Tuesday. All 7 Canadian NHL teams have the night off following last night's season openers. Toronto won 6-5 in a shootout against Montreal. Ottawa lost 5-3 to Carolina. Vancouver beat Edmonton 8-1. And Calgary topped Winnipeg 5-3. Common Crown Brewing brings you our sports updates. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5, Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. It's been a second or two. It's been a minute since we've checked in on the EMJ marketing text line, and let's do that here. I got off on a tangent earlier, and I apologize. that we didn't get to the CFL talk yet, so we'll do More of it next hour. I'm thinking of this comment from Blair in Calgary, who's a Ticats fan, and says, I read it earlier, I'll read it again. He says, I love your enthusiasm on the CFL. TSN has the TV rights, but you talk more in one show than any Sports Center show. It doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. Jeff Gordon writing in from the Queen City, 902-518-3033 is the EMJ Marketing text line. Says, not able to watch today, but would love to hear Serena's take on the Edmonton defense from last night's stinker. She's out of town for the week. I know better than to bring it up, and I'll pretty much guarantee you where she is, she wasn't watching the game. So I'll get it, but here's the thing. You don't understand much about her. I'm hoping. Go watch the Cats and Bolts podcast where it's exclusively me and her every week. Cats and Bolts podcast where we talk about the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning. When it comes to things like the Oilers implosion last night, she'll shrug her shoulders and move on. She knows that that's not them, and they'll be better next game. She doesn't. When she says controversial things on this show, I will tell her for the next day or two, oh, by the way, they're saying this about what you said. They're saying that. And she's like, I don't care. Why are you telling me that? I don't care. She says what she says and moves on. Troy in Toronto writes in, says, another guy in the brotherhood of recovery. That was great. He was authentic enough to say it and also give props where props are due. I feel bad because I called him Dave and his name's Wade. I opened the interview saying Wade, right, Clark? Didn't I? Yeah, and at the end I said Dave. It's the dyslexia of the many things I suffer from. Add that to the list. It's funny, Jeff the Stamps fan says, do people remember the other Mike Bullard? Former Calgary Flame and NHL great? Well, I certainly do. And I get what you're... The second he said Mike Bullard, I thought of Marty McSorley shish kebabbing Mike Bullard in the Stanley Cup playoffs in the 1980s. Who doesn't remember that? Jay in Winnipeg says, no worries, the Jets are on the right track. They're handling it very well in Winnipeg, despite the loss last night. I think they get it. The 85 Oilers couldn't have beat the Flames last night. They were a team on a mission. Next hour, the Moose will rejoin. We'll get into Week 19 in the CFL, a lot of NFL stuff. And AJ from Ottawa after this brief pause on Game Plus and The Key.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
For those that just turned on their television and say, what's he ranting about now? I went to the local high school league and said, I want to give a free pizza to the MVP of every game all year long. And the league said, no, we can't because that's not fair to the other sports in our program. I'm like, I don't care about the other sports. Come on, man. The football players, they're the ones that get all the chicks. They're the cool guys. That's who I want. I don't want to sponsor the swim team.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Welcome to hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. Things are great here. I hope they are with you as you see the winds getting up here in South Florida, but that beats the rain. What's it like in Toronto, Moose? What is the weather report there from the center of the universe? How's it looking?
Sunny, looks pretty good. It's warming up, so that's a good thing. We've had a couple of cold days the last 3 or 4, but it's warming up.
Nice. We're on Game Plus Television, anchored out of Toronto. We're on WQEE Radio in Atlanta. We are produced out of IKS Media in Regina, Saskatchewan. And we're all over the place. And my dad used to say, and I miss him a lot, James W. Pedersen. He said, I could listen to the rain all night, but I hate that effing wind. I'm like, yeah, I never forgot that, right? What?
Poor guy, because like they talk about on the West Coast in Vancouver, it's foggy 250 days of the year. So if you don't like the fog and you don't like the rain, it's not going to be a lot of fun. Well, in Saskatchewan and on the prairies, it's a windy 250 days of the year. So if you don't like the sound of the wind, it's a tough place to live.
Yeah, well, the sailing people will tell you that it's only windy one day a week. The sailing people will tell you that in Saskatchewan, because I've interviewed sailors. Believe it or not, they have them.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard of the last Saskatchewan pirate. So I'm trying to bring my head around. You know, hour 2 is where I just take the off-ramp to Crazy Town, because there's a lot of topics on the table. And for those that have just tuned in for hour 2, we covered all of last night's NHL action last hour. So the Flames fans have are writing in to rejoice. The Jets fans are writing in to say, hey, their team played great, and they'll get them in the home opener or get them next time. The audience was asking what Serena's take was on the Oilers getting bombed 8-1 in Vancouver. And I had it wrong. I thought that she would take it in stride and say, that's not them. I actually texted her in the break because she's out of town. She's not around. I said, what the audience wants to know your take on the Oilers getting hammered 8-1 in Vancouver last night. And Darren, it was a lot of F-bombs and things that I can't say on the air. She's So I guess I shouldn't speak for her. I try not to on a daily basis, and she's very upset. Yeah.
I knew she would be upset this morning. So I sent her a what I thought was a pretty funny Instagram reel. You know how you DM those to people? So I saw one was funny. I sent it to her. I sent it to you too, but I sent it to her, and I thought she needed that today.
Oiler fans very angry today. Jay in Winnipeg says, sunny and +6 in Peg City. You wish you were here. Yeah. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writing in, we're going to spend some time here on the Canadian Football League. I'm going to map out this hour, and it's going to be tonight's games in the National Hockey League, some Canadian Football League talk, Week 19, and AJ Jakubec joining us later this hour. He's the voice of the Ottawa REDBLACKS, Ottawa Senators pre- and post-game show host, voice of the 67s and the Ottawa Furies. So he's like Mr. Ottawa Sports. If that doesn't grab you or get you excited, turn it off. Go away. And before we get to Week 19 of the CFL, and as I said, I'm not wearing the crown and the cape today for Bet Regal's Deal or No Deal. I'll wear it tomorrow, where we go deep into the NFL Week 6. But I do want to talk about this. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. Thank you, Jeff. He says, the story of the CFL today is twofold and both off the field. Number one, Edmonton Elks are closing the Upper Bowl next season. And number two, massive increase in Rough Riders season ticket prices. And I'll spend a minute on it, but not a lot, because I do want to focus on what's going on the field. But I will say I can't believe the amount of discussion generated about them tarping off the upper decks of a 60,000-seat stadium in Edmonton. And why I can't believe that is, why do you care so much? If you haven't paid attention, for pretty much the last 2 years, they could have played Elks home games in Clark Stadium, which is across the parking lot. And Darren, you know that's right. They don't need the upper deck. So why does everybody have an opinion on this? I don't like to talk about officiating, and I'm over talking about attendance, because I say this about various markets. If all the people that bitched about the attendance actually bought a ticket and went to games, we wouldn't have to talk about it. So before we move on to that other second topic, I'm surprised at how much people care about Edmonton tarping off their upper deck. You?
I know. I am too, and I see it. I see all the discussion. Part of it is people just want to, complain a little bit. And people just want to tell you that you're not doing your job, or be like, why aren't you thinking about this? Why aren't you thinking about that? And point fingers at the management and try and bring them down a little bit. It's an unenviable position for ownership and management and game day staff to be in any league and in any team, because you want to create the best atmosphere. So they think tarp off the upper deck, make the lower bowl packed. It will make the atmosphere better. On television, it will look better. There's a lot of things that will be great about it. And they're probably right. People get upset because they think, well, what about the season ticket holders? Because we know those first few rows in the second deck between the 40s, some of the best seats in the house. Some people would choose those over being down in the lower bowl and being on the 20-yard line. But guess what? You can't have it both ways. Not everybody can win. You can't always have the best situation. So the only way to get what you want is to sell out the lower bowl so that they open up the upper bowl. More people go to the game, you'll be able to sit on the 50-yard line in the first, 5 rows of the upper deck and have what you want. So you can't please everybody. They're going to do what's best for the organization as a whole.
Yeah, well, that's what they did in BC. That's what they are doing in BC with the BC Lions. And incidentally, the interim president of the Edmonton Elks is Rick Lawlisher, who just came from the BC Lions. So I'm kind of over talking about it because mismanagement, historically bad mismanagement in Edmonton, has put them in this bind that they could play their games at Clark Stadium where the junior teams play. And that's not the current regime's fault. everybody got fired for that. The coach, the general manager, the team president, they burnt it to the ground. And did you think it was going to come back overnight? That's one. And two, the Saskatchewan Roughriders increasing their ticket prices by what I'm seeing 20%. I don't really want to talk about it because there's nothing that I could say that would be remotely positive. If you need any more evidence that the executive and top echelon of the Saskatchewan Roughriders are completely out to lunch, there's your evidence. And just so you know, the historically bad management in Edmonton that's got them where they are now, that's what's going on in Saskatchewan. So until they make a change and purge everybody that's making these asinine decisions there, it's only going to get worse. So before we move on to the games, do you have, it's very clear to me. What I say last hour, Darren, I see things before everybody else and everybody calls me crazy. And then what I say comes to fruition and nobody comes back and apologizes and goes, yeah, you were right. Nobody. But I'm used to it. I don't get upset about it anymore. When you talk about everybody's upset and bitching on social media, you don't see me bitching about anything. What you see me talking about is how great life is and how grateful I am for it. And for God's sakes, look around. But that's just me. Your thoughts on the Riders racing ticket prices before we talk about stuff that actually matters?
I'm with you. There's not much you can say. You can't, not much. There's nothing you can say that's positive or supportive of this. People aren't showing up to the stadium. It's unfortunate. Raising ticket prices, I'm not exactly sure what that's going to accomplish. I really don't know. We were having the conversation here last night about the Leafs game because the atmosphere is so bad and social media took over talking about how bad it was. Felt like a preseason game. Felt like game 1 of a season that you're going to miss the playoffs. No energy, no excitement. And we all know it's the suits that go and the overpriced tickets. Real fans don't get to go to games as much. I understand that. And what do you do if you're a MLSE? You're not going to slash the ticket prices or do anything like that because you're making money and the building's full. So it's really difficult. But if I'm, the Riders, I'm probably making tickets dirt cheap and trying to get more fans in the building that can afford it and create a little more buzz. It happened in junior hockey. The Saskatoon Blades were always called the library, the arena there in Saskatoon. What have they done? It's $40 now in Saskatoon for a family of 4 to go to a game. 2 adults, 2 kids for $40. Atmosphere, way better. It's way louder. They're getting more fans. And the opposite's happening in Regina, where they're raising the ticket prices and squeezing out the families, right? I mean, at some point, the experience for the fan and the in-building atmosphere has to be taken. Oh, my God. Of course it is.
Thank you.
So you got to take that into consideration.
in Edmonton. Thank you, BW at Edmonton, for pointing out 111. Visualize a positive outcome to your current tough times. Just visualize it turning out right and the way you would like it to. And believe it or not, it works.
Yes.
We're living proof. Janice writes in, she says, you're 100% right about the Riders, Rod. Thank you, Janny. I appreciate the support, but I know I'm right. But thank you, because you're a great person. But I know that I'm right about that.
How about that?
Well, we got some good stuff coming in from the audience. Really good stuff. But can I just say this? Of course I can. It's my show. I heard you and producer Clark talking about the poor atmosphere in the arena. I'm not saying you two were saying it was bad. You were talking about people saying that it was bad.
Yeah.
Wakey, wakey, Toronto. You won the frickin' game. You're sick in the head. You're sick in the head. Try this for 24 hours. I had to learn this in recovery. I learned a lot of things, as you know. And you didn't know me before. I think Janice did. I wasn't somebody you wanted to know. But now I am. And I'll say this to the sports fans. Instead of crapping all over everything on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, or even in your own telling everybody how much your life sucks, go a day pointing out what you liked about things. What you liked about that Leaf game last night. What you liked about the presentation on TV. And for and in the recovery world, this is the sobriety thing, but just turning your life around, spend a day just being nice. Hold a door open for somebody. Get a gift card for that mechanic, like Mike, like I did. My mechanic here, because he always looks after me. I pull in with my Jeep, he drops everything and looks after me. And it's not because I was the voice of the Rough Riders for 20 years, because guess what? He don't give a shit. He doesn't even know who the Saskatchewan Rough Riders are, okay? So just spend a day being nice and thinking about what you liked and see what that does for your life. Ryan in Toronto, here's me freaking out about my computer now. She goes, I think this counts as a spontaneous Rod's rant. But my life is so much better because I've stopped listening to everybody and largely turned my phone off. I didn't know this was a thing in Toronto last night because I saw your team came back and won. I didn't even know that it was a thing. People are upset about the atmosphere. I'll say it again. You're sick in the head. And furthermore, hi, Darren. Who are you writing?
You.
I know. I'm on a rant here. I'm on a roll. I'm teasing you.
Just taking notes, okay?
Teasing.
I'm just taking notes.
Randolph in Toronto says, Rod's a great believer in the power of positivity. Yes, because I've lived it. I've lived it. So I know that it works, and you're making notes, so thank you for that. But here's what's awesome for me. I got a twofer tonight. I told you that I was limiting my sports attending to one event a week because there's so much going on in South Florida, but I got 3 tonight. 3 tonight. I got my club meeting at the Yard House Sports Bar. The guys are all getting together. That's at 5:45. I could tell you more about all those guys, but I'll stop. We talked about the price of tickets, and they said the best where families go, FAU football, because you can get in there for $17 a game. Florida Atlantic University, Tom Herman's Owls. That's where the families go, because it's $17, Darren, for big-time college football. Then I'm going to Cardinal Gibbons High School to watch the first half because my guy, Matt DeBuck, the head coach, he's like, you haven't been in our games lately. I said, you're always on the road. He goes, well, we're home Thursday night. That's how I talk with me and my friends, as you know. So I'm going to go for a half, and then I'm going to the Florida Panthers watch party at the Funky Buddha Brewery, and I'm meeting Andrew Imber, the public address announcer of the Panthers, to watch the game with him.
Triple header.
I could not be happier. I'm not thinking about what sucks in my life. Try it. We'll be right back. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates. Hills View Casino.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
The RP Show continues, your favorite daytime sports talk show, and boy, we got him fired up, Moose. I'm here in the South Florida studio. The Moose is in the Toronto studio. And before we jump into the actual sports talk, I think, Moose, they're enjoying this. Jim, watching in Balgony, writes in, he says, comment of the year comes from Moose. People like to complain, unquote. Oh, boy. Loving another great show, RP crew. That's it. That's it. Jim and Balgony. You jump in at any time if you have comments along these. Regarding the upper deck in Edmonton being shut down, Jason in Winnipeg writes in, and he says, I love seating in the upper deck at IG Field, but totally understand the Elks tarping it off. That saves the team a ton of money on staff. It would change back as soon as ticket sales go back up. People need to shut up and put some money down on the team. Thank you, Jason. Yeah. Winnipeg was awful for years, and look where they... Winning helps. Winning helps. Brian in Hudson Bay writes in, and he says, Rod for president of the Riders. Sorry, Brian. I don't want it. And I can't afford the pay cut. Hank writes in, not Henry Burris. Hank Hirspink is the name in Regina. And he says, Riders don't need to raise ticket prices. Improve the team performance by hiring Ken Austin as president, and he'll hire the right people under him. Yeah, because Ken's going to leave Auburn. And the $1 million a year that he makes, U.S., as the offensive coordinator of the Auburn Tigers in the SEC. You guys, you don't got to leave the vacuum, but can you at least look outside the vacuum that is Riderville? They're like Leaf fans, Moose. They're like Leaf fans. It's all like, they're like Leaf fans.
And I mean,
we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, can you blame them? I mean, sometimes you just got to accept what it is, right? And
they think everybody wants to be there, period. Yeah. I'm sorry. We will get to the NHL games tonight. It's opening night for a lot of teams. Philadelphia Flyers at the Blue Jackets, the New York Rangers at the Sabres.
And we got to play
Detroit
deal or no
at New
deal.
Jersey. That's next. Thank you for the reminder, though. Wow. You did it.
I did it.
Way to go.
Yeah.
St. Louis Blues at the Dallas Stars. Florida Panthers at the Minnesota Wild. The Kraken at the Predators. And as mentioned earlier, the Golden Knights at San Jose. But we're going to play. Let me try that again. Let's get it going, Moose. Let me get my timer. We got to get this done inside 2 minutes. As you know. Here we go. We're playing Deal or No Deal, Canadian Football League edition for our exclusive and official betting partner, BetRegal. I'll give the point spreads for Week 19 CFL games. Darren will decide whether he wants to take the bet or not. And it opens Friday night with the BC Lions at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Lions are favored by 3.5 at Deal or No Deal at BetRegal. Deal or No Deal by you.
I'll take the Lions in this one. Deal.
I'm not, man. The Ticats are on a heater. Didn't you notice? No deal here.
They
no
are.
deal for you. Sask at Calgary, Friday night. Stampeders favored by 3.5. Deal or no deal?
You got a deal from me there, too. I just don't see things turning around in an instant for Saskatchewan.
No deal from me. Saskatchewan's going to Calgary to win. You heard it here first. Saturday, Montreal's at Edmonton. The Alouettes are favored by 2, and they can clinch second with a win at Edmonton. Al's favored by 2. Deal or no deal?
Toughest one for me of the week. I'll go no deal. I think Edmonton's playing with pride.
Okay. Everybody's picking Edmonton. Not me. Have you heard of Cody Fajardo? Death, taxes, and Fajardo winning. It's what you can count on. Montreal and Ottawa at Toronto. The Argos favored by 5. Deal or no deal?
You got a deal from me there. I think the Argos will win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I got that one too. So there you go. Sign up and get playing today at betregal.ca. To spend a minute on this, those CFL games, because the people wrote in, they love the CFL talk here. They don't get it anywhere else. Nobody talks more CFL than us. The game of the week, it ain't even close, is Sask at Calgary. And Calgary's coming back off a bye. I've read all the previews and stuff. Stats, numbers, coming off bye weeks, all that's analytics in a way. But what's your gut telling you? What are you thinking? Like, Calgary feels like they can come back from a bye and change everything. And in Week 19, like when I say change everything, like, let's forget what happened till now. Maybe you can do that. You basically said you think Calgary's going to win it. Is that going to be a whole new team coming back for Calgary after the bye? Is that what you think?
Well, I think, geez, you put some really good perspective on this, because you got two, teams and 2 fan bases that are sitting there being like, we have to turn this around. We have to find a way to flip this around. And I guess at the end of the day, I have more trust that Calgary can do it than Saskatchewan right now. I think that's just how bad things have gotten, in Sask, and that's too bad. I think if I had to choose, I'd lean Calgary. But, I mean, I don't know which of these teams really is going to turn it around, if either. Like, is one team just going to, back their way into a win this week? I'm not really sure. I don't know if either team's going to step up and actually win this game, rather than one team lose the game worse than the other, if that makes any sense at all. I just lean Calgary.
You're far better at this than me. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Calgary doesn't have to be a whole new team to beat the Riders, Rod. Shouldn't take much. Well, for Calgary's sake, I hope they don't have that attitude. Now, it isn't the National Football League where there are no easy games. And, man, the more that I'm around here in Miami, I'm learning a lot about the NFL. I can kind of see why guys come to the CFL that are of quality, coaches and players. They don't want any part of this. There's too much pressure, too much is the NFL. I was telling somebody this yesterday. I'm like, I like where my association with the NFL, it's arm's length away. You know, I don't want to know more. I don't want to know what's in the sausage. I just want to eat the sausage. I don't want to know how you made the sausage. You know what I mean? Because I got a feeling that I wouldn't want to know how you made the sausage. You know?
That's right.
What do we got here? Ted in Red Deer. He says, in the old days, Calgary and Sask would be a sellout. I doubt that will happen this year. Again, I'm past the attendance talk. That ain't what we do here. When do you ever turn on the television and hear them talking about attendance for NHL games, NFL games, MLB games? Why is it a CFL thing?
It is.
I think I know why. It's the intimacy of the league, and the fans love it, and they all feel this worry, right? That is it's the intimacy of the CFL. The fans, they care that much, whereas I don't think they care with those other major leagues.
Just like a family, right? It's like a family.
Yeah.
Where they'll, a family member will call you up and be like, are you eating? I think you need to eat more. You're looking a little thin, Rod. You need to eat, I think you need to do that. And it's not critical. I think it's just, you're right. They care. They want to help the league. They want everybody to pull up their socks together. And I like you said, the intimacy of the league and the fan base. It's unique.
Ted in Red Deer, regarding the way last segment ended, he said, a positivity rant. You only get that on this show. Regarding Ken Austin coming back to run the Rough Riders. Janice says, ha, 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 Kent isn't going anywhere close to Sask. That's a fact. And they probably really should examine how they treat people there. But that's on deaf ears. Boy, Janice has got a lot of very interesting comments here, and good ones. Like she says, NHL attendance at Arizona is the only talk for that league. Correct. Yet, they ain't going anywhere, the Coyotes. Complete U-turn, off-ramp here, off-roading in the time I have left with you, and we have enough here. Serena brought this up the other day. We're talking about Bedard, who incidentally, folks, we've got an hour and 31 minutes of the show, have not talked about Connor Bedard scoring last night. Oh, I guess we did, didn't we? Because I said Bedard's the only one scoring. He's got PTSD. Never mind.
Yes. Where am I?
Back on, I know, right? What's with this kid? Anyways, Serena goes, if you need any more evidence, the NHL fixed the draft lottery. This is it. She goes, the rink isn't big enough in Arizona to sell tickets to watch Bedard. They didn't want him in Arizona. She says they fixed the lottery for Chicago to win it. Back to that NFL thing where I said, I don't want to know. That's similar here. Knowing too much got me fired from my last job. So I'd rather not know if they fixed this lottery or not. To take it one step further, I'd rather just live in La La Land and pretend that, as my brother says, the cowboy, live in a world of pixie dust, unicorns. Actually, it's rainbows and unicorn piss.
Yeah.
Let's live in that world. I don't want to know that they might fix the draft lottery in the NHL. You? What do you think?
So this isn't an opinion, but I'm just going to put something out into the world. Is it sports or is the NHL a business? Because if it's a business...
Well, what do you think?
But if it's a business and putting a player in one team over another is good for business, then why wouldn't they do that? Right? It's good for business. Business is going to be better. Right? I mean...
You heard it here first, everybody. Darren DuPont says the NHL rigged the draft lottery. Write it down.
Hot take.
But at the same time, you've got, 30 individual businesses around the National Hockey League. Each team's its own business. So, I mean, there's that too. And you screwed your other businesses by not putting them there. So I get there's that, and they're all partners. At the end of the day, I don't think that there's rigging going on with the draft lottery. I think you'd have other fan bases that would be too upset, like Anaheim. Arizona, Columbus, they'd be so upset that it would get out at somewhere. TMZ finds the most small thread, pulls on it, and blows things up. I just don't think there's rigging going on.
I don't believe that they do, but maybe that's just because I don't want to believe that they do.
Yeah.
Which
And I'm
is
okay
a
with
whole
that.
other, that's a whole other TED Talk. That's a whole other show. I.e., I'll say this, people that have been told that they have cancer, people that have been told that they have HIV, they go into a mode where their brain refuses to believe it. I've seen it. I've lived it with friends, family. They refuse to acknowledge what's the truth. It's a brain malfunction. You know what I mean? So I am voluntarily saying I have a brain malfunction. I don't want to acknowledge the NHL might rig the draft lottery.
And what's so wrong with that?
What? That
Right?
I don't want to believe it?
What's so wrong with that? If you want to bury your head in the sand and believe that it's sunny when it's raining, and it puts you in a better mood, and it doesn't affect anybody else, and it makes you happy, what's so bad about
that? Part's true. That part's true, but not accepting the truth historically is not a good thing.
Right.
If
we agree.
That's the case here. Okay, Darren, great show. See you later.
You bet.
We're going to Ottawa next. AJ Jakubec joins us, and it's going to be fantastic. I know it. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Away we roll. In the guest segment of Hour 2 of the RP show, Michael Bunting scored in his first game of the Carolina Hurricanes. Teuvo Teravainen and Jordan Staal also scored for the Hurricanes in a 5-3 victory over the Ottawa Senators. Freddie Anderson made 27 saves. Matthew Joseph had a first-period goal for the Sens. Parker Kelly and Tim Stützle teamed up for a 2-goal burst that tied it at 3 early in the third. AJ Jakubec, of course, was all over it. He joins us from TSN 1200 Ottawa. And we may talk about the football team, AJ. We may not. But let's talk about the Sens
can I decline?
game.
Like a penalty? Can I decline?
I know it's tough, man. I really feel for you. What's the mood in Ottawa? You knew it was going to be tough going into Carolina, probably the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I think it's probably 50-50 excitement about this team, about the season, about ownership, about just this era of hockey that is about to be here for the Ottawa Senators for the next decade with, a lot of the best players from Jake Sanderson to Brady Tkachuk to Tim Stützle signed long-term. That's 50% of it. And then the other 50% is concern about similar issues from last year to defensive zone coverage. I mean, they played probably the best team in the East in Carolina. So it's a tough test right out of the gate. But I think there's a lot of concern, and rightfully so, about their cap situation and how it was, I think, mismanaged in the offseason. You've got other teams around the league. There's no doubt. They weren't the only team dressing 17 skaters and 2 goaltenders last night. We've seen it, I think, in 4 or 5 different places around the league already. So the fact that the cap has been flat has affected a lot of different teams. But Ottawa's the only team in that situation, and with an unsigned restricted free agent that's out of the lineup. And Shane Pinto, who's probably going to command $2.5 million, somewhere in that vicinity. So not only are they short, but they have to get rid of somebody to make room for Shane Pinto, which is problematic, and this should have been dealt with in the offseason.
Are you still doing Sens pre and post game on the radio?
Probably not this year. We'll wait and see. Maybe a few, but it's mostly football, basketball, soccer, and hosting the afternoon show, but certainly still connected to the team and still, paying attention to all 82 games.
Okay, cool. Well, listen, with your veteranship of that radio station, you should be able to do what you want, and it sounds like you are. Do they have the right coach and general manager with the Senators in your mind? Let's be real about it.
So it is a great question, and that's the question that we've been hearing for a long time. I mean, Pierre Dorion's been here for a long time. I mean, he was the architect of the team in 2016-17 that went to the Eastern Conference Finals. So he's been here for all 6 seasons that they missed the playoffs. DJ Smith has been here for 4 of those seasons. And not often you get that type of opportunity, especially both GM and head coach. So it's a unique situation. General manager, I feel like the writing's on the wall for him, quite frankly. Steve Staios brought in as president of hockey operations, and you have to think that he eventually is going to pick his own people. But in the meantime, giving Pierre Dorion a chance, and I think that's fair. But when you come in and the first impression you get is of a mismanaged cap situation, they've never had to deal with this before because basically they haven't been spending to the cap. But now all of a sudden, okay, I get it. You had a bunch of players that you had to sign. Like, why did they go out and sign Vladimir Tarasenko in the offseason? That, to me, is the big question. He was a ghost last night, and I get it. It's just 1 game out of 82. But all of a sudden, if you take that contract out of there, you could make some room for Shane Pinto. And, yeah, you would have been able to dress maybe a Yuri Smakel, who looked excellent in training camp. 26-year-old rookie that's played the last few years in Europe and looked good for the Czechs in the World Championship. So they did not ice their best roster last night, and to me, that's on the general manager. So he absolutely should be feeling heat when you're talking about 6 years out of the playoffs and the situation they're in. With the head coach, DJ Smith.
I'm sorry. I want to stop you there. Let's talk about something more fun. Sorry to cut you off, but we got to get. I got to get to the football too. But Dave Sullivan, longtime friend of mine, is watching in White City, Sask, and he writes in on the EMJ Marketing text line. He says, "Hey Rod, Connor Bedard needs someone to play with. He needs his Malkin. Hall and Donato are not going to make him shine." Listen, your thoughts on Connor Bedard? A goal and an assist so far in 2 games for Chicago, 1 in each game. I said a point-a-game guy. They're not going to be great, but eventually they probably will be with him in the lineup. He'll be a career Blackhawk. What do you think about the current and the future, Chicago and Bedard?
I mean, what a special player. I don't think I'm saying anything that people haven't been saying, and certainly it's a pretty obvious thing to say, but just his shot's incredible. The way he can create chances for himself, I think it is fascinating to watch. I didn't see any of the game last night. I was watching the Sens and Canes, but certainly watched the entirety of that game against the Penguins and was just... it's very rare I find myself in a game, and I get it, it's game 1, but I just found myself wanting to watch isolation of Connor Bedard, and so impressed with what I've seen and just everything he's done, whether it's on the ice, whether how he's handled things off the ice. He's a special talent, special player. I mean, I think they already went out and got, some veterans in Hall and Foligno and some of the other guys that they brought in the offseason, Corey Perry, to help insulate him and help him out. But this is going to be about the future. So I think he's going to be just fine with the group that they have. And yeah, they're not going to win a ton of games this year. I think they're going to be bottom 10, but I don't actually think they're going to be bottom 5. I think he's got the right coach there, and the fact that they brought in those veterans are going to help. So yeah, I mean, in the long run, yeah, you want to see Bedard play with some of the top players in the game. That's going to come, but in the meantime, I think it's a good situation for him in the short term as well.
Pittsburgh missed the Penguins' Sid's first year, and Edmonton was awful for years with McDavid before they figured out what to do with him. So, and lastly, on the Red Blacks, I don't know what to say. I felt your pain when I was on your show. What's the answer? Man, they're upset, and I don't blame them up there.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I think they have to do a top-to-bottom review of everything in the off season. And look, I'm a believer. I look at Sean Burke and Brendan Tammon and Bob Dice and Kahari Jones and Travis Moore and Baron Miles and all these people in the organization, top to bottom, and they're all good football people. And for whatever reason, something's not working. And the last 2 weeks, like 4-10, was disappointing for sure, especially because they let so many games get away. So many close games that you could say they coulda, woulda, shoulda. But you are what your record says you are, as Bill Parcells famously said. In the meantime, the last 2 weeks have been unacceptable. Pathetic, as far as I'm concerned. I want to see a response. Don Brennan went out in post-media and ripped them and said, even questioned if Bob Dice should be back and if Sean Burke should be back. And you know what? They haven't had somebody. Don Brennan's been mainly a hockey reporter in this city for the last few years, and he's been around for decades in this market. I actually think they needed somebody to kind of light a fire under them. And I hope everyone, from the players to the coaches to everyone, read that article and got pissed off about it and said, you know what? We're going to shove it up his rear end, because the last couple of weeks, they've been awful, and it's been unacceptable for this fan base to see what we saw the last couple of weeks. So I'm hoping, look, they're playing in Toronto this week. I give them no chance of winning this game, but they better be competitive. They better show some pride, because the last 2 weeks just haven't been good enough on every level.
As your dad says, he always brings it. That's you, AJ. You brighten my day. Good to see you, brother. Let's catch up soon.
Sounds good, Roddy. Take care.
The great AJ Jakubec, the voice, as you can tell, of the Red Blacks, TSN Ottawa Radio. We'll be back with Overtime right after this. Live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's Overtime, proudly brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. It looks like everybody's getting on over there to 28th Street Northeast in Cowtown to check them out, but have you? Where skill and fun collide, an amusement park for hockey players. That's what I call it. Fantastic for team outings, team buildings, staff parties, office parties, family gatherings, of course. Overtime Hockey Lanes. Just imagine shooting pucks all night long. Maybe it's not for everybody, but it's for me. Overtime Hockey Lanes, thanks for your fantastic sponsorship of the show. And by the way, Serena has just texted me. She is in Texas, but she's watching right now. So if you have any messages for her, fire them at me right now. And the reason I bring that up is earlier they were asking her thoughts on the Oilers getting hammered last night, 8-1 in Vancouver, and her response was a string of F-bombs. So,
oh, no.
Wiki, Edmonton, the season started. Apparently, Edmonton's going to have to actually try. Breaking news to the Oilers. Ted in Red Deer writes in, he says, I love it when the RP show brings in guys or girls like AJ, and you get a deep dive into a different market. Great work, AJ and RP show. Well, let's not forget that I think Ottawa was like our third highest city for viewership. So I'm cognizant of the Eastern Canadian audience, trust me, and the Americans that love the hockey talk. Allie in Texas writes in, she says, great show as always. Have a great day, everyone. And Jeff Gordon, the guy that asked the question, wanted her thoughts. He says, LOL, I figured she would have some good comments. I'll say it again, fortuitous bump here for the Cats and Bolts podcast. If you like Serena's hot takes, go watch that. It's 40 minutes of it every week. Jen at the Four Seasons says they got caught in their own end. Oh, they got caught in their own oil slick. That game was horrifying. Well, God knows we're all in trouble if I'm the voice for reason, but it's just one game. It's the first game. Vancouver isn't going to be anything this year. So, again, losses aren't necessarily a bad thing. I know that's hard to believe, but losses aren't a bad thing. I guess as I look at the poll question today for Key Auto Group, and by the way, at the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. We got what's America's game of the week in the National Football League. And I probably should put a little more than 30 seconds thought into the options. I was just scrolling the Score app today, and the games that I came out with were Colts and Jaguars, and it's an AFC South battle. I mean, any divisional battle is big. That was one. Vikings, Bears, NFC North. New England at Las Vegas. And yes, I'm driving the bus to get Bill Belichick fired. I'm that much of a Tom Brady fan. And Philadelphia at the New York Jets. And those aren't divisional games, and the Eagles and Jets is leading for Key Auto Group. But somebody wrote in and said, nah, it's 4-1 Detroit Lions at the 3-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should have looked at it a little closer. A couple of great NFC teams, and I'm obviously cheering for Baker Mayfield. He's my guy. I don't understand why people don't see the same things that I see in Baker Mayfield, but that's also fine. It would be a very boring world if we all saw things the same way. It'll never happen. So that's probably the game of the week. I blew that one. Lions and Buccaneers. But here's one for you, and I get these things, these voices in my head. And listen, it's not as crazy as it sounds. But I saw this graphic on ESPN the other day. Jerry Jones feels Dak Prescott's the guy to take the Cowboys, to the Super Bowl. And I'm like, what, driving the team bus? I'm serious. The only way Dak Prescott is taking the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl is if he's driving the bus. And that one just popped into my head. I didn't steal that from anybody. Before I jump into a sports update here, Ryan is watching in upstate New York. He says, I listened to AJ's call last Saturday afternoon, and I could feel the despair in his voice every time the Red Blacks made a mistake. Hopefully there are better days ahead in Ottawa. I've been there, and it sucks. Sports update. 20-year-old defenseman Owen Power has a new 7-year, $58 million contract extension with the Buffalo Sabres. The deal was reached Wednesday ahead of tonight's home opener with the New York Rangers. Earlier this week, the Sabres signed Swedish blue liner Rasmus Dahlin to an 8-year, $88 million deal. How about that? The Sabres.
How about that?
Kevin Adams, the general manager. Yeah, Kevin Adams, the GM, sinking a lot of money into the blue line. Defense wins championships. The Philadelphia Phillies can advance to the NLCS for the second straight season with a win over the Braves tonight. The Phillies took a 2-1 series lead as Bryce Harper hit 2 home runs in the 10-2 victory. The winner goes on to play the Arizona Diamondbacks. This sports update is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company in Calgary. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5. Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. We love so much our Calgary partnerships and friendships, and can't wait to be back. Hey, Kevin the Medium has checked in. He says, Vancouver will make the playoffs. Take it to the bank. Can we submit Kevin for a drug test? Because that's what I think it's going to take. Cowboys Chargers for me, eh? Yeah, that's Monday night, Randy. That's because you're a Chargers fan. See you tomorrow, Football Friday, right here. Who has more fun than us?